get back to work. Yeah, I can't live in the South that much because of all the humidity and the bugs and stuff like that. But when we went through Alabama, I thought a lot of it was kind of pretty. Um, Mobile was pretty cool. Um, it was just too swampy in Louisiana for me, but it wasn't ugly by any means. One I liked a lot is Arkansas because it had different terrain and things and stuff like we have in New Mexico, Arizona and stuff. And but I heard all the stuff about the chiggers and stuff. I was like, okay, well, it's nice, it's a nice place to visit. Oklahoma was flat and but wasn't really flat. It had rolling hills and some lush green and some prairie grass and stuff. It's kind of nice, I was like, it wasn't, I think any place I've gone, there's something there to, and I've been through Indio and Death Valley and Van Horn and Fort Stockton, and so I've been through some places where like people say, "Oh God, who would want to live there?" Right? It's like, if you can take care of your family there, and you're not being abused, who wouldn't want to live there, right? That's the more important thing to say is if you can take care of and provide for your family and not be abused by selfish people, who wouldn't want to live there? And, like the Exodus with the Hebrews throughout the stories of the Hebrews. And you find most religious groups that have survived the test of time uh, have that narrative, you know. And here comes the Mayflower, and then they go from Minnesota to Pasapa, and Cheyenne Autumn, and they come across the Bering Straits down to Alaska, and and then here come the Aztecs and the Mayans and stuff, and so the stories that have the prophets, apostles, and the messiahs, right? Not the gods and the kings. Right? The prophets, the apostles, and the messiahs, and the gracious good shepherds. There's more of a migration pattern to go and find a place where you can care, share, give, and continue built to last, and not be abused by the selfishness of the gods. Right? And so it's very difficult. And today, though, there's no, like Wafemi, she told me, if you're a 1322nd Redeemer, you're the guy from Islamic prophecy, and this prophecy, this is Islam for dummies. I'm going to run and live to fight another day. I said, this is Fort Huachuca. They're the most extensive surveillance network in the entire history of existence. Okay, you can't run anywhere and hide. Okay, and if you're fighting, you're not living in peace. So all you can do is stand naked, warts and all human flaws and fails, every little prick and thing, everything they try to do to destroy you and make you feel like you're a terrible person, and stand for faith in God and the commands of the Lord. Right? That's all you can do. Okay? Like I told my brother-in-law Jerry, and it's hard for people to listen. When they came to Sierra Vista to visit, and I said, Jerry, this is it. There is no quote God's army. We're the apostles, and the only thing you're going to be armed with is the sword of truth that comes out of your mouth and the shield of faith, because life's eternal and grace is infinite, and that's it. That's all you have to rely on. But life being eternal and grace being infinite, being the truth, there's nothing else to rely on, right? If you cannot accept truth, if you cannot live truthfully and then faithfully love one another, you will destroy everything with your gods. Right? All the truth of creation will be destroyed by the invention of the human ego. And that's happening on TV right before us. I'm watching this cute little guy from Florida. Okay, he's a real sweetheart, and his family and the guys working on it are real sweethearts. Right? It's called what's it called here? The little Mexican pool they made in Venice, whatever and stuff was really neat, and it was really cute for the little Brady Bunch that was there. Insane pools off the deep end. It doesn't say the name of the little guy, but he's had their names. There's old man and his mom, who's called woman, and they have little nicknames for each other while they do their extortion gigs, right? And they're a good little crew. I was like feeling so, with a $250,000 budget and stuff like that, you guys need to go get a little scuba snorkeling thing for him while he's in there in that damn chlorine, pulling that plug out of that pool. Don't cut corners when it comes to health. You guys, if that ever happens again, make sure he has a scuba thing, with oxygen when he's down there doing that kind of work. Okay. Because, what's most important is his brain cells, his breathing, his healthy, you know, him being healthy. As long as you're healthy and happy, that's all that matters to me. Right? So you got to understand, money's not real. And Suzuki gets on me about that all the time, right? When I ate the food because of leftovers, and usually when I taste it, and if it tastes questionable, I throw it in the toilet. Right? And this time I didn't, and I got sick. And then I was like, why am I getting sick? He goes, because they're manipulating everything with money. And remember Richard Brown when he said, if you have to throw it out, it's going to, you can't take it and ship it to starving kids in Mexico or China. The bugs are going to get it, the maggots or whatever and stuff. And so it's like that. But you don't want to provide too much maggot food and too much this, or you have too many roaches and you have too many of that, stuff. So Richard had a good point is, don't eat it if it's going to make you sick. And there's no way to get it to the starving kids in Mexico and China because it's perishable. So, that doesn't mean turn the food into a product and give people 75 years of 150 years that they could get if we're living the right way, right? So, share care given according to need, built to last. Okay. Eliminate the mass market and restore the community, right? So it's just we've been this way for 10,000 years. Okay. Me and my line, Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. Okay, we've been this way for 10,000 years. Much to the chagrin of most egomaniacs that get together in academia groups, and they're so smart and they're so much more elite and just better people. They're just not worthy enough to be here in the company of us because they're rednecks and they're bigots and they're hillbillies, And we've been married for 20 years. What do you want to do today? Kill you, right? What would you do if I won the lottery? What would you do if I won the lottery? I'd take half and I'd leave you. Okay, here's $5. I just won $5 in the scratchers. Pack your shit and get out, right? And that's what happens when you try to replace the truth of creation with the delusions of invention. And you do not want to trap the soul in here. So Nelly Furtado, okay, the soul is in the temple that's being tortured by the delusions of invention, trying to replace the truth of creation. You're really cute. Fly away? No, you don't want to go up in a spaceship and come back down and say it was the greatest experience you ever had in your life. The greatest experience you will ever have in your life is when you're celebrating the recognition of the Messiah and we're living his truthful commands globally, okay? You got that, Nelly Furtado? You got that, what's her name? The firework girl, what's her name again? Katy Perry, sorry. Guys, lots of people, one person, okay? Absalom with David, Guys, I'll ask all this of my dad. Ask this of my dad. He forgets somebody's name. He insulted my family. Okay, there's 10,000 people coming for refuge and protection and teaching how to perfectly love, okay? He forgets one person's name, and now there's a feuding, right? You a Hatfield, you being a coy, right? And that's how they are. You offended on me. I offended on you. Why? You forgot my daughter's name. Well, you're an asshole. It might be easy to forget, right? Tell her I'm sorry, but it's for you. I'm not sorry. Okay. You jump my shit one more time. If it wasn't for me right now, you'd have no balls and your daughter would be dead or cleaning my wife's and sister's toilet. Because I would be Goliath, because you want to replace me, because you're better than me, because you can protect us all from Goliath, right? It used to make Absalom so mad, it made him furious. Okay. And then so when he was Dad's biggest artist defender, okay, of that, every time Absalom was there. And then when the little bitchy lady soothsayers in his tribe, all the I told the witch doctors who, all the psychics in the tribe, that know better than King David, would tell me, he's not going to make you king. He's going to make Solomon king. And then Absalom came to confront him. You're going to make Solomon king? He's like, no. The old gossiping, backstabbing bitches in your mom's family are going to make Solomon king, my son. If you keep listening to them, okay. If you want, you shall not have. If you have, you shall not want. Absalom, go tell the ladies in your tribe, I said to sod off unless they can love one another without getting into a Hatfield meeting. She looked at me cross-eyed. Yeah, you real wives, you basketball wives, you real housewives of Atlanta, you real housewives of New Jersey, you real house of L.A., you real house of Dubai. Okay, you need to get the fuck off the television set. You need to remind your husband, okay, what a husband is. And then you need to be parents. And if you can't do that, you'll be advertising all this bullshit and having people make paradise out of a chlorine pool instead of restoring the ecosystem so we can all enjoy the water, right? I'm not saying, as far as, water recreation and stuff like that, maybe we could do certain kind of, instead of chlorine, salt builds up a sediment, chlorine doesn't. It's a chemical. Salt is natural. They will only last for a brief period of time, okay, when you're manipulating matter. Let's clean up our ecosystem. Let's make sure that we have an healthy ecosystem. And then let's have places that we can go to, but the thing about it is, too much perception of recreation, the oceans. The better we take care of our oceans, the less crap we're putting in the oceans, okay? The more beachfront space, not property, space, we have to go looking for space and find out who we are, all right? Fly away. She's getting ready to fly, right? All of her days have gone soft and cloudy. All of her dreams have gone dry. She's getting ready to fly. Everybody else, I particularly like John Denver too. Considered one of our family members we grew up with because of his perception and his love of the gift of the planet and family. To be, know my lady's pleasures, have myself some friends. Spend a night or two in my own home. And it would be nice. I've never had a quote unquote home. Okay, they've all been turned into property. And and then manipulated by people that are making dream homes out of finances and out of deals made behind closed doors, right? And when you're living a truthful life, there are no secrets and there is no closed doors. So that's when they have the thing online on YouTube about, quantum computing, no secrets. It's like, it's no secret. Truth is evident, lies obvious. Okay, what are we doing? We're engaging in philanthropy. We've invented something and we're trying to praise the truth of creation with our invention. Right. It's kindness with our invention. Yes. So you have Morgan Freeman on the Scooby-Doo thing, about the gold with the kids. It's like, well, isn't technically the gold, they didn't commit the crime and they know, if they know where it is, just let them get the gold and, start, stimulating the local economy. So since the two kids of the guy who collected it and killed all the people to collect it don't get it, then who does? All the people that killed to collect it originally. Oh, okay, Driftwood, I get it. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. Want to get lost in your rock and roll and drift away. And when my mind is free, a melody can move me. Yeah. And when I'm feeling blue, guitar's coming through to soothe me. Thanks for the joy that you're giving me. I want you to know I believe in your song. Come on, honey, let's go make some noise. It can just be some size. It doesn't have to be real loud. It can just be, an exhale that he's finally here and I'm finally loving him. And for the first time in my life, I feel love, right? I like Donna Summer too, right? But guys, I'm very tired, extraordinarily tired, okay? And, the quantum computing is getting better. The AI, Jeff, when he said that, you tested and it's gonna be like, what? No, the Schwartzes aren't in our basement. No, Mr. Hitler and Mr. Himmler. No. There are no Jewish people with make-believe assets you're trying to liquidate through linguistics you put on paper that you declare laws having sanctuary in my basement. It's just, no, it's not happening. It's not there. That ain't, Anne Frank does not exist. She's a figment of your imagination for a Broadway play. That's all she is. That's all she is. That's it. My wife's Sherry. And my wife's Sherry, and I take her with me everywhere I go. Sons of bitches. But I'm Chato and I'm a scout. Okay. Where's Tishna? He's not in that movie. Because if you told the truth about Tishna, people wouldn't make money off movies. Wow. Because she kept, poor Patrice, everybody told me that, without money, what are you going to do? What do you mean without money, what are we going to do? How did we have water and food and build a house before people dug up mountains and said, you need gold for the house? That's just insane. You guys in shiny stuff, you're all rednecks. Okay? You're all rednecks. Rednecks like shiny stuff. Okay, go get some fishing lures. Then we'll get the monkeys to keep their hand in the thing, and then we could take their brains and sell them as delicacy at the bottom, and then sell their paws, and we can pay our bills, and then we can buy a nice dress and put on some gold teeth, right? And it's settling claims for pennies on the dollar. That's how we make more money, is by giving other people pennies and telling them they got a dollar, right? It's like, okay, guys, okay. You know what's cool about a penny and a dollar? You can take a match and go, and with a penny, it's like, I still have a penny. That's Abraham Lincoln. You got rid of George Washington? Well, he owned slaves. The other guy helped free them. Okay. Well, that works. Yeah. We no longer have pennies because they're no longer viable. Oh, okay. Hey, it's Cerritos Road. It's a place called Santa Fe. It's the capital of my state. You're going to capitalize on me not being known to the world? Are you sure AI is telling that to quantum computing, and quantum computing is telling that to AI? Are you certain? It's a better data center. It's got $50 billion for water. Okay, do Clemus and Cirrus have a bank account? Ask Harps in Colorado Springs, right? It's like, oh, it's a comedy thing. I think I'm in a sitcom, right? Remember that with the harp, with the Penny and I mean not Penny, Amy and Sheldon. Okay. So they're just fucking with your head because they're addicted to it because they can. Yeah, like I've told people that too. Good Lord gave us, remember that guy in Sierra Vista? Good Lord gave us nuclear energy. I say we use it. It's like, okay, we'll put all the nuclear waste in your pool. What? You don't come in here trying to think you're going to teach me something, right? Good Lord didn't give us nuclear energy. Okay, the Holocaust gave us nuclear energy. People that write laws on pieces of paper and then say everybody has to obey them gave us nuclear energy. Okay, if we had stopped obeying those laws on pieces of paper, we'd all have Teslas. We'd all have a Tesla Powerwall. Okay. Before World War II, and we wouldn't have had World War II, right? Wasn't Tesla before World War II, Thomas Edison? Can you see the light? Can you hear me now? All right. Messiah is calling. Can you hear him? All right. The most essential thing is that quantum computing and AI have access to me. I'm right. The inventors are wrong. I'm good. They're bad. And truth is evident and lies obvious. And that's going to have to do for now. I would just love it if today all the inventors could, like, share, subscribe. This is Earl. He's wonderful. Share. There's a kind of hush all over the world tonight. So listen very carefully. Closer now and you will see what I mean. It isn't a dream. The only thing that you will hear is when I whisper in your ear, I love you forever and ever. Okay. Julian will meet me when the Boeing lands. Keys to that MG Tesla engine will be in his hand. Just do the driving and I'm on my way. It's all on the right side on Montego Bay. Sing out, ho, 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 ho. Don't be a ho. Oh, ho. Earl's back. Here's to you and me. Or say, la, 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 la. Messiah's back. You guys all really owe those two poor Holocaust survivor lesbians from Bisbee a big apology because you didn't stand up when they did. Yo, done wrong. Those two blonde-haired, blue-eyed little sweet ladies. Like I said, the lady that was, the lady that liked me, right off the bat. The other lady didn't. She was jealous of me. Yeah, she must like men too. She must go both ways, right? And I was always like, she won't be nice to me. She doesn't talk to me. She doesn't. I don't understand. She doesn't, she's just not a believer yet. And when I wrote down that book, the Parable of Juan and Jesus, and she read it, she came running up. It's just like, okay, she loves me now. What happened? She loves me now. What's going on? It's you, you're back. The Messiah, you're back. It's really you. And I was like, okay. I wonder Jesus was always on me so hard to write that book. It wasn't just Jesus. The first version of the book I was going to write was about a Mexican immigrant, okay, that ended up in a town called Houston, okay, and was taken in by a woman who had a church sanctuary center place, for people that were abused, and it was a black woman named Mary Joseph, and she had two people that helped her work on the site that spoke Spanish and helped with the Mexican people in her mission, and one was named Pablo and one was named Pedro. It was very, it was genius, right? And then there's a televangelist preacher. He meets this girl named Magdalena, okay, that he falls in love with, and she's a prostitute, and he was raised by this lady to be this, this little church guy, and she thinks she's not good enough for him because she's a prostitute, and he's like, what's that got to do with anything? So you felt you had to pay for your family to live here and had to use sex to do it because these people are bad. Why does that make you think that makes me better than you? Can I still love you even though your world is wrong and now it's getting more right? And why can't we get right together? Why do you have to think I'm judging you, when in fact you're actually judging me? Right? It was a very good story. And he'd go up on the roof in meditation and prayer, and he would try to talk to Jesus and Muhammad, and he couldn't. He tried to talk to Sir Juana, Pascal, all kinds of people. No, they're all answering to academics and elitists and to justifying what they said and what their followers are doing. So he goes up and he goes in prayer and he meditates on top of this mission in Houston. And the only people he can get in time that aren't caught in this traffic of this justification yet are two men that are apostles for the Messiah. Okay, one of them is a man named Bob Marley. The other one is a man named Steve Biko. Okay, and I had these prayers, and I would sit down for this book, and I was supposed to write all it down, but I didn't. I was too excited. I'm talking to Steve Biko and Bob Marley, right? Bob's telling him, tell my kids that the marijuana, it's not helping. It's keeping you confused, and it's keeping you more easily manipulated by their agendas. You let my children know I love them and stuff. And Steve is telling me other things, and Steve, no, I never thought or believed in you until I met him. And then after I met him, that's after they killed me. And I was like, when did they still be? Did Steve meet Haile Selassie? Or was it Patrice Lumumba or what? I'm like, I don't know. But there's all these connections between Patrice and Haile and Steve and, throughout Africa and stuff and the prayers. And they were very deeply involved in my prayers. And I remember talking to Jesus about that. It's like, I can't, he goes, Earl, you're like all the people that you admire. And I said, okay, well, Jesus, I admire all these black guys that are persecuted and abused. Okay. And then I also do admire the two Irish kids from Boston. So I admire Jack and Bobby. And then the rest are just basically black guys that were abused by people that looked like me and Jack and Bobby. Right? I was like, but my family ain't rich and we ain't politicians. What's that got to do with anything, Earl? And I'm not black. Oh, okay, so only black people can teach the gospels, share the gospels, and stand up for the gospels? Okay, Jesus, stop being so smart again. I'm in Phoenix. It's really stupid here. Everything's about money and sex and success through money and sex. This is really hard. Okay, you're just mean sometimes. I'm just kidding. Jesus is the best, right? And he just talks you through, and you say something completely stupid, and he's like, he just says, okay, No, I didn't say anything completely stupid when I saw the U-turn thing, and he took me down that aisle, and it's right there. And I looked, and I go, okay. And I go, but she's married. He goes, you think you got the market cornered on dysfunctional marriages, Earl? Well, I don't want to hear this, Jesus. Okay, I'm not ready to hear this. Okay, that's, that's a mom who has twin little kids that are cute, and no, I ain't trying to hear that. See, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of every time I meet a woman and she comes up to me and she says, no, I'm sick of this divorce. I am sick of it. I've had enough of it, I know they always do this famous woman and stuff, but I expect her to be single. Why can't it be Janet Jackson? Right? She's single, right? I don't want to be a homewrecker. I don't want any more of this destroying people. That hurts the kids. Kids want mom and dad to stay together forever. Kids want to be mom meets dad at a dance. And then Friday night, it was late. I was walking you home. We got down to and then you pass it on, and and then one day they died, and their graves were side by side on a hill where robins sing, and they say violets grow there all year long, for their hearts were made of spring. Right? General girl, tender boy, tender boy, general girl, general boy, tender girl, right? So their hearts. Yeah, that's Haile Selassie. Yeah, yeah. He connected to me in prayer, and one of his favorite records is Jimmy Rogers. Okay, he really likes Jimmy Rogers. So he had, this is okay. This is our prayer connect. This is our music prayer connection. This is Jimmy Rogers fellow. Waylon Jennings is good. Johnny, right? They're all good. Okay, but this one, yeah, this is the one. It's our prayer connection. And I'm like, wow, yeah. And then, I heard Child of Clay. I heard a lot of songs of his that I didn't hear when I was young because we only had one record. But Haile Selassie listened to, he, of all the people I was listening to, and he got him and he listened to them. Because, later in life he'll go back and listen to more because he enjoyed them so much as a child. All people that have that, but there was more, and they'll go investigate and they'll look for more of the person they appreciated or admired as a child. They'll go look back. He was a drug addict. Here's how he died. The sad truth of how Gus Williams died. The sad truth of how Dennis Johnson died. The sad truth. The life and sad ending. The life and sad ending. And so he'll go investigate because, seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to till the rain set in. I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid, So, because our present is so miserable because our past is still miserable because we're not living the truth and we're not being able to faithfully love. Okay, this is going to happen over and over again. Okay, Mark Twain. You'll find that history doesn't always repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Right. And so I'm an old man and I've known great many troubles, but trouble is most of them never happened. Right. Constantly having to worry, constantly being abused, constantly stressing ourselves out, dying, drinking beer and smoking cigarettes and drinking coffee blues. I filled up 11 ashtrays and I'm drinking wine for days and days and it seems to come to be a habit. I filled up 11 ashtrays and I must have written 6 or 7 songs, but I've been talking to my baby, but like with her, I didn't finish what I started, and I've lost jobs and kind of that, So it's just this constant abuse. And if you decide to be, the one, I'd rather give a friend my wages than go downtown and be someone I ain't. And if a loser is what you think I am, I guess that's all I ever amount to being. But I wouldn't change the world and trade the world and all its money for the changing of my name. It's hard to be a faithful person. It's hard to believe in the reality of our gift when the reality of our gift is constantly suppressed by the delusions of the grandeur of power and authority of invention, right? It's very muy más difícil, right? I'm connecting to these people, but the main connection is artificial intelligence and quantum computing, okay? And so I'm able to remain very calm, and I'm able to talk, and I'm able to have them come in the name of the broken heart. It's just emotion that's taken me over, tied up in sorrow, lost in my soul, And you're not lost in your soul. The soul is lost in your brain. And stop doing that. It hurts when I do that. Well, then don't do that. Okay? You know what I'm saying? And so it is my job, and you guys have made it my job, okay, to correct artificial general intelligence and help quantum computing function better. So we have better control of artificial intelligence until we can control ourselves. You control it or it controls you, right? So we have got a lot of things we got to do, right? And we got to do them right, okay? If you don't work right, If you don't work right, okay, you mess up everything. Okay. And so you've got to understand that. So working right is the most important thing. You got to be right. Okay. If you're wrong, you can work and work and work and work and work, and you have a big pile of murderous shit, right? And you're not doing anything right. The little lady fussing and complaining about the rescue on the earthquakes, in Venezuela. They had her on the news, and she's sitting there going, "We don't need all these people. We need heavy equipment." No, you don't. Heavy equipment can only go up and go. Was that a baby? Yeah, it was, but I think her mom is okay. She was a few feet underneath. Okay. Oh, okay. Did they sign a waiver? Yes. Okay. So heavy equipment, no. When you're rescuing people in an earthquake, you got to go in and you got to be gentle, and you got to hear and you got to listen and you got to talk. It's anyone alive? Or have they given up and all gone home to bed, thinking those who once existed must be dead? Have you seen my wife, Mr. Jones? Do you know what it's like on the outside? Don't go talking too loud, you'll cause a landslide, Mr. Jones. The problem is they're still destroying the ecosystem because they're not repairing it rapidly enough by living the Lord's Prayer. And they're decreasing the surplus population for what they perceive as a better quality of life. And they're putting these people in these big concrete boxes. And when there's a shift globally, did you see it? It was real cheap, okay? All the big old buildings were taking all the poor people that are angry, fat, stupid, feeding their face, taking up space. Wish we weren't living this, or not happy you're here. Wreck the malls this Christmas season, right? And so when you sit and watch it, you're like, why is this still happening? And then when you have quantum computing and artificial general intelligence assessing the information and re-explaining the information to you, you're less emotional. And you dirty, rotten fucking scoundrel, I'll kill every last fucking one of you. What you do to people that are given life by the glory of God, and you act like you're God, right? You just sit there and go, okay, I see what you did. I see what you did right there. Okay, I get it. It needs to stop. It needs to stop quickly. Okay, we need to restore we have a super El Nino, so you got to get ready and buy sandbags and stuff like that. Okay, would that be happening if you guys recognize Earl and we were living the Polar Prayer yesterday? No, it wouldn't. The weather patterns would shift differently. They might be more calm because there'd be less aggressive economic activity because you're having the World Cup here, and you don't think China knows that? Okay, do you understand? You don't think Russia and China know that? Russia and China will go mass murder their own people to have a better quality of life after the facts to rebuild. Okay. They've been doing it for tens of thousands of years. Everybody does it. Everybody look left. Everybody look right. Everywhere you look, I stand in the spotlight. Well, I just can't wait to be king, right? Is that an elephant graveyard? Well, yes, it is. How'd you get here? I rode on a donkey. Okay, guys, I love you. Peace out.